Hi everybody, Paul here from Hill Country Rings. Today we're going to be making a inlay ring on titanium from New York Yankees baseball bat. So let's go in the shop. Alright, it is a gorgeous day here in the Hill Country. A lot better than the solar eclipse that was really kind of a bust. It was just nothing but clouds, so oh well. But anyway, got both doors open, and we're going to be making a ring from the baseball bat from Greg Bird of the New York Yankees. And I've got pieces that are cut and have been stabilized, and I've got a size 12.5 tungsten inlay core. So we're going to go ahead and prepare this piece here, and then we'll inlay it. What we're going to do is probably turn it flat on both sides, bore it out, and then size it down so that it'll fit that core. Then we'll break it and then bond it to that core with a two-part epoxy. So let's get started with that process. Alright, this ring is about 23.5 millimeters, pretty tight around it. So we've chucked up a 24 millimeter Forstner bit right here, and that's what we're going to use to bore into the wood. So let's go ahead and bore out the whole fit. Alright, this core has a channel about 4 millimeters wide, and so I've used my calipers, and I got the little tail that comes out on this side. It comes out the 4 millimeters, so we're going to go ahead and turn down this wood till it's 4 millimeters thick, so that it'll fit in that channel. Alright, we got this piece of wood where it has the hole drilled out or bored out to fit this ring core, and it's been flattened down to fit right into this 4mm channel. So as you can see, can't make it fit this way. So what we have to do is we have to make some cuts right here going up to it, but we don't cut all the way, and then we actually break it right here on the grain, along the grain, and then we'll bond it in there with 2-part epoxy. And the reason we don't cut all the way is we did that would cut away some of this wood, and then you'd have a big gap. So when we break it and then epoxy it back together, it basically closes up that gap. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, this is what I call the moment of truth. This is where I can determine if I've been living right, if my stars are aligned. And that looks pretty good. Really nice clean break. Gonna have to do a little bit of sanding, a little hand sanding to make it fit. See, it's not fitting into that channel, but that's the way we want it. So when I sand it, it'll be nice and tight. And let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna sand the bottom, just one side, that bottom that's flat, and then it'll fit right in there. I'm gonna go ahead and sand it. good. Alright, now we're going to clean up the wood and the metal core with denatured alcohol, and then we're going to bond it in there with two-part epoxy. And we always clean up the wood first to give it a chance to for that alcohol to dry out. We don't want it to be wet or anything like that. So there we go. Got both of them nice and clean, including where those pieces join together. And we go ahead and we clean up the core. And these they look clean, but sometimes they've got some machine oil on them from the cutting process when they make these. Get it good and clean. Yeah, that actually is pretty clean. Okay. Alright, now we got our epoxy. And we put our epoxy down. Just a little glob of that. And then the hardener. We'll put that down and kind of equal size glops. Then we use our very expensive jeweler's tools here. They're very limited supply. You can look at these at certain places, and you have to have a jeweler's permit to buy these jeweler tools here. So go ahead and we mix that in really good. So the hardener and the epoxy. And this stuff takes overnight to dry, but it is pretty strong. It is actually made for fixing boats, as a matter of fact. It's a marine epoxy, which works pretty good. So we'll go ahead and put some in there. Put some in there. Just a little bit on those sides. Then we make sure to put it out here. And we want to put it on the wood and on the metal, because that way both sides are wet and you don't have a dry fit. You don't have any air or dry pockets, which would be bad. We want to make sure we got everything is got the epoxy. And you know, some will squeeze out, but that's okay. We clean it up. So we go ahead and just go through that a couple of times. Make sure we got it all down the bottom and along the sides. There we go. Okay, once we got that, then we put this side in here, and we put this side in here, and we give it a little bit of a twist to make sure it's good and set. And then we clamp him and let him sit overnight. Yep. Good and clamped. Alright, and we just let him sit overnight, and then we'll come back and finish him off tomorrow. Alright, it's the next day, and the two-part epoxy is all nice and cured. So we're going to go ahead and take the ring. We're going to cut the wood close around the ring core, not too close. Then we'll put the ring on the lathe, and we will turn that wood level, actually just a little bit under level with the metal, a little bit under that flush, and then we will put on a clear sealer, and then to protect it, and then we'll buff and polish it all up, and then we'll be ready to go. So let's go ahead and do all that. I don't have any audio right here, so I'll go ahead and talk over it. Sorry, I don't have any music to play, so I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing. Right here, I'm cutting some of the waste away from the core so that when I put this ring back on the lathe, I don't have a whole lot of wood I've got to chop off. I just get it pretty close. I don't want to get too close to the core because I don't want to scratch it or, you know, cut too much of the wood down with the bandsaw, but get it maybe about 1/16 of an inch from the core. Now I've got the uh, ring back on the lathe. And this is probably one of my favorite parts of making a ring is turning the lathe. It's where you take a odd piece of wood and using these uh, tools, just basically turning it and making it round and smooth and shaping it. It's pretty relaxing. It makes a lot of dust though. That's probably the one drawback, but it's a lot of fun. I do say I wear a full face helmet or full face mask when I'm doing this because don't want anything flying up hit me in the head. And now I'm just sanding that wood. I just want to make sure to get that wood. Right now it's pretty much flush with the metal, but I want to get it just a little bit under the metal, and also want to sand that metal down so that it's nice and clean and get any epoxy off that might have gotten out on it from when I did the glue up. And by sanding the wood down a little bit, just a little bit under the metal, that makes room for the finish. So the finish will pool up on that wood and kind of leave a nice good coat to protect it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to take it over and put it on my little rotisserie and put on the finish once I get this sanding done. And here I'm using this stuff. It's actually a finish that's used for guitar repair. And I put a couple of coats of this thin on here, and then I'll put a coat or two of the medium. It's called Glue Boost. It's pretty good stuff. It's very durable. It's a little flexible, but it have really good results with it. It protects the ring, protects the wood. Just put in a couple of layers and let it dry. You know, we've got to let it cure between, and then I'll let it sit and spin for a while. I keep it on the rotisserie and let it spin so it doesn't pool up on the one side or the other on the ring. If my lathe would go slow enough, I could do this little lathe, but my lathe doesn't go slow like this. So I had to build this little contraption. And I just let it turn for a while, let it uh, let it dry. I'll put another coat or two on here. Doesn't hurt. And I always use these little blue towels. The regular paper towels, they get like paper fibers, so that's why I like these little blue towels and cut them up in little pieces. Right now I got the wood back on the lathe, the ring, and I'm just barely sanding it with some 220, just kind of hitting it up. I'm going to clean up the metal, make sure I get that nice and clean, but just getting any high spots off of the wood. And then what we'll do is we'll use a polish that like a compound, kind of like you would compound your car, and that'll get all the scratches out and then smooth it up. And this is this Dr. Kirk. The first one is it's kind of like what you would compound your car, and gets all the scratches out. And this is where I start to get a really nice finish on the wood. So I do the scratch free first, and then there's a three-part uh, more progressive grit. Here's the number one, which is the red, and put it a little bit on that blue towel and just kind of let it rub on there and then let it rub off. And these are progressive grits, so they just get finer and finer, and it just makes that wood just smoother and smoother and smoother. And there's the number two, and it's really that number two is when you really start to get some nice like glass like finish. And then the number 3 will come up. It's red, white, and blue, so it's really easy to remember. You just do the scratch free, and then the red, white, and blue. And there's the final. And I use a lot of these blue paper towels, or these blue towels, shop towels. I guess get these at the auto parts store. But they're really handy. It's a lot better than paper towels for what I do on this. Do anything with the finish. All right, now I'm just taking it over to the Fordham, and I've got a foot switch, of course, what I use to turn it on or off. And I get the inside really nice and smooth and polished. I got some buffing compound on that wheel, and then I take it over to the buffer, put some compound on that wheel, and then we just take it, hit it to the wheel, and kind of hold it at a bias, let it spin around, and this just puts that final finish on it. And then I hit it on the clean wheel just to clean it all off, and then it is done. All right, here's that size 12.5 titanium bat ring from the New York Yankees, and a piece of bat that it came from, what's left of it. Came out pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and send this to the customer. If you would like a ring made from Yankees baseball bat, from other baseball bats, I have several Major League Baseball bats from the deck of battleships like the Texas, or the New Jersey, or the North Carolina, or other heritage or legacy woods. Or if you've got a wood that you would like a ring made out of, a custom ring, please let me know. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see. And thanks for watching. I enjoy making these custom rings, and I'd love to make one for you. Thanks, everybody.